Live draft. Live 2024 NFL playoff draft. Where are we drafting CMC? Where are we drafting St. Brown? Where are we drafting these potential monsters like Lamar? If you're in a playoff draft, you've got to draft a quarterback. So this makes it really interesting when we get to one of these drafts and people are like, okay, I'm going to wait on a quarterback. You can't necessarily wait on a quarterback. That even makes CMC kind of hard to take at one, depending on the type of draft you're doing, because there are only 4 quarterbacks. So let's jump into this. Let's jump into this draft right now. We're going to do some playoff drafts. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Hit the link in the live chat. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Let's do it live.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios,
it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
File on in, file on in. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you are hitting that thumb up button on your way in the door, subscribing if you're new, but more importantly than any of all of that, well, no, I guess that's the most important thing, but make sure you're ready to draft, okay? Because if you don't hit this link that I'm going to drop in the live chat right now, you're not going to be able to get into the Underdog draft. All right, so here's the link right here. Do it live. Smash that link. That link will insert promo code Smitty for you. Promo code Smitty will double your first deposit up to $100 on Underdog Fantasy, and you'll be able to jump right in. All right, the draft we're going to get into, let me pull up the draft once more here. It's going to be the Sunday Brawl. Let's get into that one first, because look at that one. See that green indicating line that it's almost full? We got to jump on this one like right away. So hit the link. Let me pin the link in the live chat for everybody that isn't signed up yet, but Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Smitty, I need you to recap your Moon Man, Saturn Man for 2024. Bro, you need to watch, like we do that every single day. You need to watch a show or two to test. You're basically admitting you're never here. That's all we do. I'll hit it later. We're getting into some drafts, bro. Do it live. All right, here, I'm going to pin the link right now. Link has been pinned. Underdog Fantasy. You're going to scroll over to, I believe it's like, I don't know, it's halfway through all these cards. Sunday Brawl. Click on that bad boy. And if you miss out on this, you get into the next one. Hit the green button now. There's a 10-second YouTube delay-ish. So I'm going to hit that button after I see myself pull up that same amount of time on the live stream. Hit the button. Do it live. There we go. We should all be in together. Now, granted, when you're doing a draft like this, where you're drafting for, you know, the wild card game, or the wild card games, you're drafting for these last 4 games. I'm back 2 weeks ago, and you're sitting here with 4 quarterbacks. A lot of these contests will be 4 players in each draft so that you can accumulate a team, right? So you may say to yourself, oh, CMC is the number 1 overall pick right here. There are only 4 drafters in each one of these drafts. Again, if you missed it, you can jump in the other one. But because there are 4 teams left playing, you got Lamar, you got Mahomes, you got Brock Purdy, you've got Jared Goff. You can't play in a league really with 6, 7, 8, 10 people. This doesn't mean that it's a smaller contest necessarily. It just means that you got to break out of that first round of your group. So you got to finish first within your group the first round. Then we go to the Super Bowl, and then you're potentially in a bigger pool of people, per se. So this 1.4 will be interesting if I land McCaffrey. I highly doubt I do, or if I'm stuck with Jared Goff. Like, we'll see what happens. So Lamar Jackson goes at the 1.1. And this is not, this one is actually just conference championship, I believe. So if we go to the details of this one, conference championship. So this isn't a mitten of any kind, meaning you don't advance to the next round or anything. It's all about this one specific week. you didn't get in, don't worry, you can get in the next one. So this has nothing to do with the Super Bowl. This is just conference championship week. McCaffrey goes number 2. So I feel pretty good about this because I'm going to get, well, I mean, personally, the player I want at this point, let me hold off on saying. Mahomes, yeah. Damn. I guess I'm going to go. I guess I'll go. I don't really. Man. I'll go Brock and I'll go Amon-Ra. And if you guys weren't aware, there is a little bit of news. And I'll put that on screen here 1 second. Here's the board view. Your boy took Brock and Amon-Ra. Don't worry, we'll do more of these. We're not just doing one of them. So if you didn't get into this draft, definitely we'll do another one. So hang tight, hang tight. Jim Harbaugh set to leave Michigan and head and take his talents to the NFL, take his talents to LA, or as Ron calls it, San Diego. And this report is right here as we go through this draft. Adam Schefter reports Jim Harbaugh set to leave Michigan to accept the Chargers head coaching job on a 5-year deal. This is very interesting stuff. Fantastic. Chargers are probably going to start winning. And as we mentioned earlier, first of all, I think this is great for Justin Herbert, but I mean, who the hell knows what this team does? No one's saying they're going to draft a running back in the first round. But when you start looking at this Chargers team, where not in round 1, but with their draft slot in the second round, third round, etc., where do they start looking at a potential running back? Do they go to this free agent running back pool that you have right in front of your face? Do they go get a Barkley? Do they go get a Jacobs? Do they go get a Derrick Henry for 1 year stopgap measure potentially? Do they draft Blake Corum? Does Harbaugh want his college running back lined up in the backfield in this Charger offense? Blake Corum definitely going to be on our minds. Debo, I think Debo probably plays in this one. I'll probably roll with this is a Niner built team, I guess. I was going to go with Laporta and have Laporta and Amon-Ra, but we'll go ahead and go that route. I'll draft a different team too, don't worry. I'll mix it up. Yeah, Eckler, I don't know where Eckler's going to be. No idea. I don't think Eckler's got a lot left in the tank. I think he does have the ability to be serviceable, and his ADP will determine whether we are into that kind of value. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he falls into the third or fourth round, we got to have a conversation about it. If he's going in the top 15, which I can't imagine, then, you know, we can't go down that road. But Harbaugh leaving college football, leaving Michigan, heading to LA to coach Justin Herbert and the boys. It's going to be interesting. And look, to be honest with you, like, I'm not saying Harbaugh wouldn't have an explosive, amazing offense necessarily. You know, what's the staff going to be like that he brings in? He's not going to just replicate what he does in college, you know, entirely. But this is a team that is like hard-nosed football, defense, run, you know, like, so I'm not saying Herbert, this really hurts Herbert. I think there's a possibility. Let's see, I need to pick, we'll go Gus Bus, we'll go Likely. There's a possibility that, you know, another coach could have maybe opened up their air attack a little differently. I don't want to say more necessarily, But this is the one place where Harbaugh goes and I think gets the most out of his ability, because he has a team that can win with his approach and style. Like, this is a team that Herbert needs to be in this position. I'm not saying Herbert's not a top 5 potential quarterback, but Herbert has not been brought along properly. Herbert has not been supported properly. Herbert's been, trying to do everything himself, whether it's getting injured and, not having, I think, the right weapons at the right time. I mean, him and Keenan Allen tore up during a big portion of the year, but Keenan Allen is older. And I don't know that this is the best plan of attack to get Herbert on track and to get the most out of Herbert. I'm not saying Herbert will game manage, but this is one of those things where now Herbert's going to be a potential winner. This is going to get the most out of the Chargers as a whole. I don't know fantasy-wise if it's the most optimal marriage, and I know everyone's going to say, well, what? Harbaugh's great. Harbaugh's great, but I mean, would Ben Johnson get more out of the offense fantasy football-wise? Maybe. I like Harbaugh, though. Harbaugh's better for the team. Harbaugh's better for a potential Super Bowl. So from a fan perspective, Harbaugh is it. This was the move. Harbaugh absolutely puts the Chargers immediately in that realm of top 10 overall teams in the National Football League. Maybe it takes a little bit. Maybe it takes a year. Okay, let's go back into, let's do one more Sunday Brawl. Click that green button, everybody, on the Sunday Brawl. Let's get into one more of these. I'll hit enter in 8 seconds because of the YouTube delay. We'll try and get in this one together. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Punch that link that's pinned in the live chat. The link will enter promo code Smitty for you. Or if you download the app, you can enter promo code Smitty yourself manually. But why not just have the system do it for you by clicking the link that's pinned in the live chat, the link that's in the description of every video that enters code Smitty for you. They double your first deposit up to $100. So, yeah, Harbaugh. Yeah. I mean, this is good news, ladies and gentlemen. I want to change the title of this to Harbaugh. Let me keep this on screen for people that come in a little late to the party. I'm drafting at the 1.1. Anybody's late to the party, Jim Harbaugh is now the Chargers head coach. New Chargers. To leave Michigan. Plus live draft. Oh, I'm on the clock. We'll go. I'm going to go Lamar. Lamar's just the smart pick at the 1. Plus live draft. I'm just changing the title of this. Plus fantasy draft. There we go. What's up, everybody? Appreciate you being here. So what does Michigan do now? I don't know. Huffman, that's a good question. Cry? Panic? I mean, they'll be okay, but it's not good. It's not good. This guy's a culture. This guy brought something to Michigan that I don't think you can just replicate or replace. So for sure, it's a problem. But yeah, Harbaugh to the Chargers. Let's go. Can everybody hear me clear? I think the Wi-Fi was cutting in and out, so I switched. Can everybody hear me okay? Did I cut in and out? Am I fine now? All right, so I took Lamar with this 1 pick, and we'll see what I get with these double back-to-back picks here at the 1 or at the bottom of the 2nd, top of the 3rd round. Yeah, Harbaugh, like I was saying earlier, I mean, Harbaugh to the Chargers is not necessarily, in my mind, the most ideal fantasy football fit. It's still good, but it's 100% the best fit for football wins for this team, for this organization. Like, at some point, the Chargers can't just continue to have, good fantasy production, but no wins. They have to figure this thing out. Harbaugh's the answer. Harbaugh's going to give balance to the offense. Harbaugh's going to have a tough run, tough D, ball control, hard-nosed, old-school football. That's what he does, and that's how Herbert is going to thrive from a football perspective. Fantasy-wise, I'm not saying he's not top 5 capable, but let's see here. Let's go. I'll go Kelsey and I'm gonna go double tight end here just because you can flex one. I don't care about stacking as much in this because it's one round. You're not trying to advance a team, and stacking does have advantages, but at the same time, when you're doing a conference championship fantasy only round, you're literally, you're trying to pick in one round the best players that are going to fire off. Stacking does not matter. You're not advancing anything. You're not trying to take a team to the next round and have a core of 5 people still remaining. This is a one round shot. Herbert stock just went up. Yeah, I think it went up. Like, even if, like I said, Ben Johnson or, especially when you look at it, especially someone like Todd Monken would have been better fantasy-wise for Herbert. So when we say stock went up, it did because he's going to have success. But do I think Monken could have got more? And Monken's not even the right fit. Monken would be perfect in Washington with JD5. Monken would be perfect in Atlanta with Fields or JD5 or whatever. Like, I like Monken in certain situations anyways better. But I'm just saying, this is good for Herbert's development and team. They're going to win. This is a great move. This is a fantastic football move. I mean, Harbaugh knows what he's doing. He's a leader of men. But it's going to be hard-nosed football. It's going to be great for Charger fans. They're going to be excited. This is going to be a tough team. They're going to turn into a tough team. They're not going to be soft on the defensive side of the football. May take a year for things to develop. But Harbaugh was going no other place than the Chargers. It's very evident. All right, I'm on the clock here. Let's go Monty. And let's roll with man, kind of just dropped off. I got to take a chance on, I guess, Jameson Williams. AFC West is brutal. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of tough divisions now, bro. I mean, look at even the NFC West. There's so many stacked teams. There's a lot of tough divisions. Kind of funny when you have a division debate with somebody and they're like, they get so bent out of shape that you don't see someone else's. You see someone else's division's weaker than yours, and if you're a fan of your team, and so many even type looks at it. Okay, Bateman. Rib issue. We'll go We'll go Bateman, I guess. Give me a 61 projection. Let's back out of here. Let's see what else they got. Sunday Brawl 2. Sunday Knockout. $10 entry. Is this a conference? What is this? Conference championship. Okay. Hit this one. Hit the green button right now. $5K to first place on this one. Hit the green button. I think Jim wins the Super Bowl rematch with Bro if it happens, says Robert. I think the odds of the Chargers winning a Super Bowl in the next 4 or 5 years just went up. There's only three in this draft, huh? Look at this one. Only 3. Woo! This is interesting. Only 3 drafters. It's max entries 50, current entrants 325, conference championship games, 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex. Okay, pretty interesting there. 3 entrants. Tank Dell, top 10 wide receiver 2024. Certainly could be, bro. Certainly could be. Tank Dell and Collins is going to be a fierce and crazy debate in the offseason as to who is the number 1 who is the number 1 wide receiver in that Houston Texan offense. And there's no real right answer because it's a stack.
The stack above all stacks. It's time to drop the pancake emojis in the live chat.
Liftoff of mission 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's a absolute stack attack in Houston right now. Okay, so I figured this would probably happen. Rashee Rice. You know, maybe Ayuk has a... I'm going to put Ayuk in this. I hate going against the Detroit. I got to pick a Detroit Lion team, too. I like to diversify. I've got two Niner-geared teams here. I have to have a Detroit Lion-geared team. I love the balanced approach. I do not... I like to do a bunch of, similar drafts like this where I have every combination I can of Niner players and every combination I can of Detroit players, every combination I can of Baltimore Raven players, and it's good to do that. But when you start stacking a certain way, you almost got to keep going. Yeah, Waldron in Chicago. It could be interesting for sure. We don't know what quarterback, I think Fields is gone. But let's go Kittle and Laporta. Woo! I like this team. Oh, I'm on the clock again? No. I like this team. McCaffrey, Brock, Ayuk, Kittle, Laporta. God, Odell is so mediocre. He's just a body on the field. Reynolds is dealing with an injury, but Jameson, I don't know why I'm banking on Jameson. There we go. Let's try one more of these. I like these. These are $10 a piece. Sunday knockout, $10 entries. Only 3 people in each team. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Link is pinned in the live chat. They'll double your first deposit up to $100. Yeah, sky's the limit for the Chargers for sure. It's a great marriage. It's a fantastic marriage. Again, I don't mean this. Hit the green button now. Sunday knockout 2, $10 entry. Jump in with me. I don't mean this in a negative way at all. Like, are there better fantasy football potential pairings of a coach or, and Herbert? Yeah, there are, but not one that has a winning formula for football, I don't think. I think Herbert, I don't mean this in a bad way. I know it's going to come out wrong to a lot of Herbert believers, but Herbert is not, he's a great quarterback potentially, right? But he doesn't need to be hold on, I'm sorry. He in order to win, I don't think you want him trying to be Josh Allen. I think if you want to win with Justin Herbert, you want the team being way more supportive and diversifying production across the board. What is going on now? Can we not do any more drafts? Is this thing crapping out on me? I'm drafting in the 1 pick again. Let's see if I can get this to pull up. Come on, bro. We might be done on the drafts if this doesn't load. Come on, broski. All right, we might be done drafting, I think. Can you guys see it? Maybe it's there and it just isn't showing for me. Let me look at the live stream. Okay, I'm on the clock. Oh, Mahomes fell. I'll draft Mahomes. Isaiah Pacheco. Do I go Rashee Rice or Isaiah Pacheco? Man. You guys can't see it, can you? Dang it. This is a good draft. Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice. Let's go Pacheco. All right, so I got McCaffrey, Mahomes, Pacheco. We'll see what happens at wide receiver, but yeah, it's blank. I don't know. It is what it is. We'll just talk Harbaugh now for a minute. We'll have some phone calls, see if anybody wants to discuss this conversation. I also have, come on, when it rains, it pours. Now this isn't working. I think my computer froze. Come on. All right, I think we're back. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to plug my phone in again, though. So we'll just talk Harbaugh. So, Jim Harbaugh, breaking news. If you're late to the party, Jim Harbaugh is now headed to become the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. And from a fantasy football perspective, this is fantastic news. Because even though there's a potential better marriage, this is a long-term fit. This is going to put Herbert on a path to become a better quarterback at the end of the day. Do I think you could put him in a system that's going to produce more fantasy production? Ben Johnson type of setup? Yeah, maybe. But like at the same time, you know, you want consistency. You want Harbaugh. We can change this coaching board now and put Harbaugh over here. And that is complete. Put a little check mark over here. Now this makes you wonder how much more likely a Bill Belichick is in Atlanta if the Chargers are off the table. I don't know. I'm not too sure. Chargers have their guy. That leaves us with still a good group. Vrabel is interviewing with the Falcons. You've got Ben Johnson, still probably one of the best options on the board. Quinn is interviewing in a couple different places. If he doesn't get a head coaching job, he will be returning to Dallas. Bill Belichick is a lead dog candidate for Atlanta. However, reports recently are that Atlanta is completely wide open in terms of their head coaching search. So I don't think anybody should be assuming that that's where he's going to end up. But just like the Harbaugh to the Chargers was inevitable, it does feel like we could potentially be saying the same thing later on once Bill Belichick is in Atlanta, which doesn't freak me out if they get the right quarterback in that system. It only freaks me out if this guy thinks Ritter's the answer, or if this guy thinks Jimmy Garoppolo and Ritter are the answers. I'm talking about Bill Belichick in Atlanta. If that's the way he thinks, then we're in panic mode, full panic mode. How much? I don't know. But definitely not something we want. But Harbaugh, if anybody wants to call and talk briefly about this, again, I think it's fantastic long-term for Herbert. It's fantastic long-term for the Chargers. The Chargers have a potential. Now, you can't just give them a Super Bowl, you know, and it's going to be a very, I think, popular topic to be like, oh, they win a Super Bowl very soon. It could take a while, and we've seen, you know, this isn't the easiest, you know, thing to fix, you know. He's a great coach, and he's used to dealing with, you know, college kids, and you know, he's awesome. Jim Harbaugh's fantastic, but it's not like it's a lock for him to walk in and win a championship in the next 2 years. But it does put them in a nice positioning. But this team will be a tough, old school football team, and I'm not saying that doesn't. Again, my whole point is I'm not saying it doesn't produce good fantasy stats, but it definitely might be different than like a Ben Johnson. But Ben Johnson may not survive there more than 2 years or 3 years if they don't win. They got to do something different. Harbaugh's that difference. Harbaugh can get a culture created. Harbaugh can create ball control, hard-nosed football, and that's how you're going to get the most from a football perspective out of Herbert. Because I don't think Herbert is a Josh Allen carry you on his back. Now, Josh Allen's not winning either, but he's going to he's a final 5-6 team in the National Football League and continues to do amazing things. Josh Allen, he's going to get a little more help. I know everyone's really critical of Josh Allen. Josh Allen's been fantastic. I don't share a lot of people's view on Josh Allen being a guy that's never going to win it, that, you know, drops the ball, et cetera, et cetera. I don't share that view at all. But I do believe Herbert is not built to be Josh Allen. Herbert needs some help, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if Herbert gets the right help, he can win Super Bowls. So that's why this is such an amazing marriage, because it supports Herbert the way Herbert needs to be supported to be an elite quarterback. Herbert can be an elite quarterback. He can be an elite quarterback. He might be a little lesser fantasy-wise than he is NFL-wise, and that sometimes happens, but that's because Harbaugh is going to do a lot of different things than, let's say, Ben Johnson or Munkin would do or something like that. What's up, Ron? You're live.
What's up, Smitty? So this is what I heard is Harbaugh's going to make history. He's going to be the first NFL coach to be head coach of two teams, both the Chargers and the Falcons.
I'm waiting for the
Like
pun-
make you speechless.
I'm waiting for the punchline.
Okay. Anyways, it makes sense the Chargers because he played for them. So
What's the punchline?
makes perfect sense.
What's the
Oh,
punchline?
shut up.
No, I'm asking. I think we're all wondering what you meant. Well, I'm serious. What was the joke? I'm asking
Stop it.
for a friend.
Stop it.
No.
Move on.
Okay. Apparently there was no.
It was
Okay.
just a joke saying that he'd be the first coach to coach two teams, meaning Belichick ain't going to get hired at Falcons. I think Belichick might
Okay.
take a year off and wait a year and then come back in.
I felt a little slow in the uptake, but I guess it was potentially the joke.
Yeah,
All right.
way to chop off my joke leg.
Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, I think I don't know if you agree, but the fit is perfect. The fantasy implications are not negative. It's just he's going to have look at Michigan. Michigan was, and I'm not saying he can build the exact same team. I'm just saying his mentality is old school football. Like it's gonna be ball control, defense, balance. Herbert's not gonna be throwing 4 TD games every week, but that doesn't mean Herbert. You won't get the very best out of Herbert. And at the end of the day, at the end of a season, he's not very efficient and effective. I think this is fantastic for Chargers fans.
If you look at Harbaugh from when he coached the Niners to a Super Bowl, the weird Super Bowl that lost power, but anyways, if you watch his progression when he went to Michigan, what did he do that was different than what he did when he was coaching in the NFL? He did what seeing Pittsburgh should do and hire coaches that would challenge him and not necessarily agree with him, and he gave them the reign to do their job, even if he didn't agree with how they were doing it. He didn't want coaches that had the exact same perspective on it as he did, because they could bring it in and they could come up with different things. And that's what he's going to bring to the Chargers. He's going to bring in a coaching staff that won't necessarily be like-minded like him. He'll bring in diversity that challenges him, and then they can mix it all together. And that's where he found his success, especially at Michigan. And that's why he's so sought after now.
Yeah, I mean he's done it all over, so it's not like you can't just define him as a college, system guy. No. I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying you have to look at his whole body of work. But I'm just saying my whole point is lately, what he's gonna try and do at the NFL level, and it's probably going to be balanced, which is fantastic. Again, I can't emphasize enough. It does not mean Herbert will be a horrible quarterback by any means from a fantasy perspective, but I do believe this will be one of those teams you need to have developed the way it needs to be, balanced and hard-nosed old school football in order to get the most out of it. Like this is what was needed. If you put in a Munkin and what hasn't been working? What they've been doing over and over and over and over again. Herbert trying to carry him. This is going to be a very different football team. It's going to be very interesting and fun to watch him build this team. If I was a Charger fan, I would be ecstatic right now because it's a culture.
Watch the coaching staff he assembles. and the makeup of it. That's key.
Yeah.
That'll be his success, because he'll bring in people that don't necessarily agree with him, and he don't agree with them, but they gel, because he doesn't want people that necessarily think the same way he does.
Now the one position that will have a very, very solid fantasy football, I think, effect will be the running back. So do they bring in Corum? Which very, very, you hear a lot of that chatter. Like, everyone wants to predict that. This guy is about his boys. Corum is going to be a second rounder. Harbaugh's going to need a running back. They have a vacancy there because Eckler will be gone. So if they have the right positioning for it and Corum's sitting there, I think they draft Corum. However, it wouldn't shock me given how cheap running backs are. It's not like you have to pay. It's almost like you're bringing in a mediocre non-skill position player when you're paying a running back like Jacobs. What's Jacobs going to command? He's not going to get near what he would have got had the Raiders not put him in NFL jail and franchise tagged him, ruined his potential bag that he was going to just get. He was going to get the bag. Now he's older. Now he's got mileage. Now he has kind of a little bit of a disappointment factor, and he's going to come out and not get the kind of market, interest that he thought. What do you think his per year salary is going to be? If the franchise tag, the average or the top 5 salaries is in the 10 to 12 range, what in the hell is this guy going to get? Like, I don't know. Does he get $10 million a year? Does he get a $18 million deal? Does he get like a 2-year, a 1-year, or a very 2-year team friendly deal that gives him like $12 million and in guaranteed money, and then an option or an ability to make 22? Like, what do you project Jacobs' dollar amount costs, and then circle that back onto the fact that you've got this guy needing an RB. You throw Jacobs into a Harbaugh system, then he's a top 6 to 10 running back. So like I don't mind that. And Barkley would be amazing. And Barkley feels like a Harbaugh guy. Like, if Barkley lands in LA, like you call it, San Diego, LA is gonna have a run game like we haven't seen in a while between the tackles, Melvin Gordon days. And boy, where do we draft Barkley in a Jim Harbaugh Chargers offense? Let me start with that one. Where do you draft Barkley if he signs with the Chargers?
Man.
I mean, he's injury prone, but here, you think about it, Ron. Hold on, let me go to Travis. Travis, you're live. Where do you draft Saquon Barkley in running back? Like, rank him in terms of all top 12 running backs. Where do you rank him?
Where do I rank him?
If he's
off the top of my head, 6 or 7 probably. If he's with the Chargers, I thought.
Chat, drop a Barkley running back and then a number. Barkley running back 5. Barkley running back 7.
Maybe if I look at a list, I could go lower, but off the top of my head. The one problem with the Chargers this year is they're in cap hell until 2025. I know they can move stuff around,
yeah,
but
cap's
I think
fake,
they're like
man.
negative 45 in cap space, 45 million.
Yeah, cap's fake, man. I mean, I know there is there is some ability to.
I just wonder if it keeps him from signing a running back. And
not a running back. Not a running back. A running back's so cheap. I mean, that's our natural instinct to be like, oh yeah, no one can get a mega deal. Running backs, signing a running back saves you money. It's like the running backs.
Well, that's true. They can just
pay you.
They can push it off to backload the contract because in 2025 they have good cap space. So.
Hi, this is Saquon Barkley. I'll pay you $8 million a year to come play for you. I'll come play for you. I'll pay you.
Right.
What draft pick do they have?
The Chargers are number 5.
I can tell you.
Number 5.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. How much power did they even say? How much power is Harbaugh going to have over the draft and the players? That he
Probably
drafted?
full control, I imagine. If Harbaugh, you're pulling a guy out from college like that, he's getting whatever he wants. I'm sure he's got a parking spot already picked out. I'm sure he's got 2 or 3 offices. They're knocking walls down and make a bigger facility for him. He's probably requested everything because he could just go right back to Michigan and say, they'll give me what you're going to give me. But imagine if they use this pick on Bowers or Marvin Harrison Jr. and then they draft Blake Corum, or they bring in Barkley, even in cap hell, whatever. They bring in Barkley on a very reasonable deal for RBs. This team is like this is the best. This is why they were the best landing spot, is because there's a lot of solutions right sitting in front of your face at your fingertips. You got the number 5 overall pick. You got Brock Bowers, or you got Marvin Harrison Jr. or neighbors, if you will. You know,
they also need offensive like Herbert.
Yeah. What a shock!
Picks too.
How are we feeling? What'd you say, Ron?
I said Herbert was taking a lot of punishment, and they need to shore up that offensive line. So where do they go? I mean, yeah, you can get a running back cheap. Harrison might be too high of a cost for them, knowing that they got but they would be great. Harrison would be great, but they got to protect. They're going to have to protect Herbert too, and the defense needs some shoring up. They got great defensive players, but they have holes.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be crazy.
He does.
You what?
It's going to be interesting to see how Harbaugh, his first year there, how he handles it and what he does.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be very
exciting.
I got Perps on the line. Perps, you're live. Real quickly, young Ray Davis. Ray. I was like Ray Davis. Oh, the running back. Yeah. Interesting. He had like a 3 TD, 200-yard game during the middle of the season. Like he's got some upside. The running backs are good, but none of them stand out except for about 2. And I'm keeping that under wraps. I think my running back rankings might shock you. Hang tight on that. I promise by Sunday. I almost promised by Sunday I should have, if not very, very much sooner, my rookie running back ranking video up. So hang tight on that, young. And I'm sorry, Perps. What are your thoughts, Perps, on this coaching news here? Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers, and where do you rank Saquon Barkley in your top 12 running back rankings if he lands in LA? Perps. Oh, you have it right here. Perps is 4. Running back 4? Woo! I don't hate it. He's so injury prone, but man, like
we
in a
don't know who's
Harbaugh
gonna be
system.
in Atlanta.
What?
I mean, Bijan's up there, but you don't know who's going to be in Atlanta.
Yeah, hey, good point. I mean, there's as many questions around some of these other running backs. You look at Christian McCaffrey, and you say to yourself, the mileage and being 28 years old, how is that any riskier or less risky than Barkley being injury prone or whatever? So, like, I hear you, bro. But, man.
Well, Barkley had a good year. All year, everyone thought Barkley wasn't going to do as good as he did, and he did better than expected.
He kept doing it. Like,
and everyone's
when you
like, oh, he's going to get hurt. He's going to get hurt. And he didn't.
And when you bench him, Barkley, and he did get benched quite a bit. There are a lot of, start bench questions that have Barkley in it. He would blow up, and then you put him back in, and he'd do nothing for two weeks. But it's not his fault. Like, the offense was horrible. That's why when Barkley said, and I think he was placating the crowd and the fan base when they said, do you want to stay in New York? He's like, yeah, I prefer to stay in New York. He can't be serious, man. Some point you got to go to work and be like, I'm frustrated with what's around me. And I don't want to be here. I want to be somewhere where it's successful, where we're going to win. Harbaugh, you imagine Harbaugh coming to you and saying, hey, I want you to be my workhorse. You're like, where do I sign? Playing for Herbert, playing for a winning cult. This is going to be a winning culture. This is a new winning culture that Harbaugh's bringing to the table. Nothing's for sure. Like I said, he's got a big body of work that ranges all over the place. So it's not like he hasn't had success, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes, a coach goes, comes from college and doesn't succeed, or goes to college and comes back, even though he's coached in the NFL, and doesn't succeed when he comes back. But I don't feel like this is that scenario. Like Ron said, he's a great personnel decision maker as well. And unlike Bill Belichick, and I'm hoping Bill Belichick learns to turn over a new leaf on this, but this man knows when to lean on other people, as Ron was saying. Bill doesn't. Bill tries to control everything, and Bill craps the bed during a lot of personnel decision-making, moves. So I'm hoping if Bill went to Atlanta, he would do the same thing that Ron's suggesting, bring in the right people, that bring in the right quarterback. And Bill says, look, I need to empower people below me to make decisions, whether I like it or not. Harbaugh is a absolute amazing, what's the word? Just leader of men, and leader of men on the field and on the sideline, like coaching, and motivator. Fan base is gonna love this man. They're gonna love this man. They're gonna worship this man. They're gonna worship him.
Look what happened. Suspended him. Look what happened when they suspended him in Michigan. The coaches stepped up. He had them all trained up. He had them ready to go. He had no problem. He says, "I'll take the suspension, no problem." And they still won. They still won even though he was suspended.
Yeah. Herbert, like I said from the beginning, this is not a negative. This is all positive. Everything I'm saying is positive for the Chargers. Is there a world where he has more fantasy points under a different head coach? Abso-freaking-lutely. But it doesn't mean that coach would even stay long enough to make Herbert have a successful NFL career. And he could fizzle out because he continues to get beat up. They don't support him right. Herbert is going to thrive from an NFL perspective, and that will translate into a lot of fantasy, but it remains to be seen if he can climb into this very, very, very competitive top 5 quarterback fantasy football pool of quarterback. I don't know if Herbert will be in the 5 range, but good God, he's going to play like a magician. Harbaugh's going to get the most out of him. I just can't wait. And if they land the right combination of Brock Bowers or Marvin Harrison or Neighbors with Barkley in free agency, it's like, how scared is everybody of the Chargers from day one? This may not take 2 years. This may not take 2 years.
He's got one thing going for him. There is no way in hell that he can have a worse draft than the Chargers had last year.
Yeah.
Chargers draft was terrible.
Bucky, Buckeye says no line. I don't know if you listen to a lot of my content, Buckeye, but sometimes offensive line production is very unfairly judged, and a lot of determinations are made based on a struggling offense, similar to the New York Jets. Everybody says the New York Jets have offensive line problems. They don't have as many offensive line problems as you might think. A lot of it comes down to quarterback play and predictability and defensive scheming, because no one is scared of your quarterback. Your quarterback doesn't have a quick release. Watch what Aaron Rodgers does to the New York Jet offensive line production once he steps back under center. If he stays healthy, I'm not saying he's at no risk of getting re-injured. Of course he is. But his quick release makes that defense back up. His quick release spreads out the defense, spreads out the offense, makes it more efficient. His quick release makes it harder to get to him. And the same thing's going to be said here. Like, you can coach up an offensive line without even doing much to it. If you have the right personnel in place, you can turn most any offensive line into a very well playing offensive line. It goes very, very understated how important personnel is in developing an offensive line versus the talent. Look at the 49ers. And I went on Raj's IG constantly and said, I'm not worried about the offensive line in San Francisco. It was a big problem. It was a big sticking point. Even with our boy Vlad, he talked about the offensive line collapsing and they got how they're going to protect. But it's like there's a history of the way Shanahan builds his team up. Defensive backs, offensive line, he coaches it up. He doesn't even. You'll sit here and go, "Who's stepping up? Next man up." And this is going to be a disaster. And you never hear anything about the Niners offensive line folding. This is a good unit. Jim Harbaugh, I have no concerns about the offensive line. Will they address it? Sure. Will they bring someone in? Absolutely. Will they draft a couple offensive linemen? Absolutely. Will they attack that in the draft and try and get the right people in place? But 1,000%, I have zero concern about the offensive line. At this point, it's completely fixed in my mind because I know what he's going to do with it. I know how he's going to set it up. I know how he's going to coach it up. I know how he's going to put, like Ron said, personnel in place to take care of that. He knows what he's doing. It's more of a personnel thing than it is a talent thing when it comes to certain pieces of an offense. I'm just telling you right now. And everybody that says you got to draft, Sewell, and everyone could say, Burrow did get hurt, Smitty. Maybe they should have drafted Sewell. As I told Hugh Jackson when he came on my show and ridiculed my take about how Jamar Chase is better for protecting Joe Burrow even than drafting an offensive lineman, I stand by that 100,000%. Jamar Chase stretches the field. Jamar Chase makes this defense line up differently every time he's on the field. And my whole point is that if Jim Harbaugh puts this offense in a certain positioning and he gets the most out of Herbert, he brings in a Barkley, you don't have any concerns about offensive line. It's a good point, Buckeye, and I know it's...
What if he brings in a Higgins?
Yeah, well, I mean, the wide receiver. I mean, you got Ridley, you got Higgins, you got Michael Pittman, you got Evans. I could see him bringing in Mike
Pittman
Evans.
Would be awesome.
Who would be awesome?
Pittman would be awesome if you brought him.
Yeah, that'd be a good land. But I mean, I don't think I would not use this pick on an offensive lineman. I would address that in other parts of the draft or free agency. I would use this on a generational talent that you cannot replace or replicate in the second round. You can replace and replicate offensive linemen in the second round. You can. In my opinion, you 100% can. Because I think you can develop and coach that up. You'll never find another Marvin Harrison Jr. or a Brock Bowers, in my opinion. That is the move to make without a hesitation right here. If they do that and go to the running back free agent pool and figure out how to fill this by way of Barkley or Jacobs or draft Blake Corum in the second round, it's on, man. It's on. I'm sorry, Perks, go ahead.
Who says he doesn't have the insight on some of his O-line from Michigan that he could coach up and plug holes with?
Yeah, he's got
later in the draft.
Ron, what do you think the over/under, or what do you think the odds are? How many Michigan players get drafted by Harbaugh? I'd say minimum 2.
Yeah, that's what I would say too.
Yeah, minimum 2. And Blake Corum is you constantly hear it. It's not a secret or some unique theory. If Corum's sitting there in the second round, you might see him take him. Depends what's going on. In the second round, yeah, I think he could easily go in the second round, easily. I think no running back probably goes in round 1. This is not that kind of running back draft class, unfortunately. Yeah. Blake Corum here would be fantastic. I think Blake Corum needs a very specific situation though, because he's not the most gifted when he gets into the NFL. Not the most gifted NFL running back. He's a great gifted
Buckeye
college.
Is there any validity or Buckeye just?
No.
You just said Derrick Henry signed with the Chargers.
Actually, Buckeye, half of his stuff is true, half of it's trolling. But he also claims that he's related to the center on the Chargers, so he said he's got the inside scoop.
Oh, he said he won't release. Man, Buckeye, what the heck are you?
Buckeye, no fake news in the chat, please.
Yeah.
Or the mods will
put
the mods will put you in timeout. The mods will put you in timeout.
Remember Lee? Sounds
Yeah.
like Lee.
Ty Lee. That's Ty Lee's
I
cousin.
got that video. Yeah, I got that video, Burrow video.
Yeah. Before free agency, he signed.
Right.
Yeah. Be careful on your fake news, bro. You know. Yeah. He circumvented free agency, and he is now signed with the Chargers. Yeah. So anyway, back on. Back on a
You're
serious
new.
note.
You don't know yet. It's something new. You just don't know about it yet.
Yeah. We'll love this channel. Don't ban me. Don't drop fake news. Buckeye. Wait.
Buckeye.
What's up, Derek? Appreciate you, Derek. Where you been? You haven't been here in a while. All right, boys. I'm gonna circle you off the phone line one at a time here. Theo, what can I do for you real quickly? And then I'm gonna nudge you off.
Who do you think is going to go to the Chargers? You think they'll want Neighbors or Bowers more?
Well, Marvin Harrison Jr., but if the Cardinals take him at 4, which you got to assume the Cardinals are very, very much thinking about doing. So, but you have to entertain it. The Cardinals trade down all the time. They botch their picks all the time. So if Marvin Harrison's gone, then honestly, I think maybe Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I'd love Brock Bowers to go to.
I mean, Harbaugh's. I don't know. I don't know if we'll have a real good line on that. I think both of them are fantastic. I would rather a Bowers go there, to be honest. I think Bowers with Herbert becoming Herbert's like Kelsey, because there's no Allen's 87 years old. Mike Williams can't stay healthy. Quentin Johnson plays soft. Bowers would be his number one target. Bowers would turn into his long-term number one target. What?
Everett's their best tight end too, so it's pretty much their biggest team need at this point.
Yeah. Can you imagine if the Cardinals take a freaking free safety?
Offensive lineman.
I mean, I don't know.
That'd be good for McBride.
I've been wanting them to take a running back. I wanted them to take Najee when Najee was available to the Cardinals, and they didn't. I wanted them to take Breece Hall. I wanted them to take, they just continued to pass on running back after running back that I wanted. And the Cardinals, I think they'd be crazy to not give an offensive weapon of the two. I could see him going Neighbors or something over Marvin Harrison. Honestly, they'd be crazy. The Cardinals are.
I'll tell you.
You know what's so funny? If you guys look at this real quick, do you remember Vegas entering week 1 had the Cardinals projected for the number 1 and number 2 overall picks? They had this Houston pick right here as the number 1 overall pick. Cardinals are drafted at 27 and 4 instead of 1 and 2. Vegas was a little off.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. You know what I would love for the Cardinals to do is move up that 27 overall pick as well somehow. That would be fantastic. If I was the Cardinals, I could turn this into a conglomerate in one draft.
I mean, as you were saying the other day, even if they don't move it up, the offensive linemen fall. So if they take an offensive lineman at 27, they could probably take a super good one. And if they take Marv and offensive lineman, that offense would be great.
That's their plan, I'm sure. And you're still going to get so much talent right here. You're not going to get wide receiver talent right here. You're going to get offensive line talent. That's why I say that I'm a very big proponent of drafting offensive linemen in the second and third rounds and through free agency, because you can replicate. You can argue a guy I get in 27 to 35 could be as good as any of these offensive linemen. It doesn't matter if the prospect's better. I believe you can coach it up. You cannot coach up a wide receiver. I mean, occasionally you find Tank Dells and such. I'm not saying that, but in terms of, in general, you can't take a talent that everybody knows and is this. He's 27 ranked overall player in the NFL draft and turn him into Marvin Harrison Jr. So, not anything else, bro?
With the gifts.
No, I think the
Perps.
next
Gifted membership.
the next what's it called? Hank Dell might go at the end of this round 1 or early round 2. I think I have a good feeling that I know who you think it is, but I'm not going to spoil anything in case it is, because I know you're going to probably have him on one of your lists pretty soon.
Okay. All right, Theo. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, have a good night.
Later, broski. Let's go over to the gifter himself. Perps, appreciate the 20 gifted memberships. Perps to the moon, to Saturn, actually. Perps, any final thoughts on this Harbaugh to the Chargers? Any final thoughts on anything we've discussed tonight?
Well, I think it's good news that he's going there, but I mean, we don't want to jump the gun. I mean, how many times have college coaches gone to the NFL and they can't hang? Now, Harbaugh's got the pedigree and there's a lot there, but he's got to bring in the right staff, and you just said it yourself, his wide receiver core isn't that strong. He's got some O-line, D-line holes he has to fill, and then coaching staff. I mean, it's going to probably be a multi-year transition to get it to where we would expect it to be. So
maybe it could be, but I wouldn't be surprised.
You think it'll be immediate?
I think it could be immediate because like the team is already very good. It's just badly coached, badly managed, badly supported, a bunch of big, holes in the ship that's, water's just seeping in. And I think this man's capable of plugging those holes pretty quickly. And, it's a solid foundation. I mean, it's not like the I didn't mean to indicate the wide receiver room is weak. It's the wide receiver room is at its end. Like the end date, the expiration date is here. Like you've got one more year, Keenan Allen. He'll probably play elite football for every game he's on the field, but I think Keenan Allen misses a handful of games. Handful. I think Mike Williams, you just can't even count on Mike Williams at all. Like if he's there, great. If he's not, whatever. And so the wide receiver room is capable. You add in a Mike Evans, you add in a Bowers, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then a Barkley, a Corum, or a Jacobson. It's like this has no holes at all. This offense is going to be, and he'll do what he needs to do on defense, and it'll be there. It'll get there. He'll do a great draft like Ron and I think you said, Perps. There'll be some Michigan players, Michigan defensive players on this team. He'll draft, I think, a minimum of 2 Michigan players, but Blake Corum might be one of them. We'll have to see. But
Ron, what were you asking?
What?
Oh, Chad, I was asking, what do you think the Vikings are going to do with their 11th pick?
Vikings.
I don't know. It's just the Vikings drafting is just like the Cardinals. I mean, the only thing that's different now is they have a new GM and they don't have Rick Spielman doing the same BS year over year. So who knows? They need plenty of holes filled on their team too.
I don't know, Ron. I'm not too. I think we need to know what happens with Cousins first before we can even. Because if Cousins is gone, they might have to use that pick on a quarterback. Like if they can't get Russell Wilson, if Wilson's not dropped and available or whatever, and I mean if they can't trade for Fields, they've been wanting they've been very interested in drafting a big name prospect. I could see them going after Penix Jr. or McCarthy at that 11 pick. I don't think anybody else will fall. Bo Nix could fall. So much depends on the combine and the pro days. Bo Nix could go. Bo Nix could be the 5th ranked quarterback and not even go in the top 16 overall, or he could go in the top 7. Bo Nix is a really good quarterback. I think it's got a quick release. He's got an amazing football. I like this kid a lot. I think he would be fantastic in Minnesota. It just depends. But there are so many teams here that need a quarterback. I believe Fields is traded, and if he doesn't go to Minnesota, then you have one quarterback here, one quarterback here in New England. You have the Giants have Danny Dimes on one of the most atrocious deals in the NFL, so I don't think they could even move on from him. Is this Danny Dimes' contract? Here's Danny Dimes' contract. He's got a dead cap in 2024 of $69.3 million. The potential out for the Giants to take a dead cap hit of $22 million is in 2025. So they're kind of forced to go with Danny Dimes this year. So we'll just assume that Atlanta. So you got three teams right here. This could go quarterback, and then Atlanta quarterback, and then Minnesota. So maybe five quarterbacks in the top 11 easily.
Yeah, regardless, Minnesota needs to go after a quarterback. Cousins isn't a long-term play. You're not going to sign him to another big contract. So what do you have at best, even if he heals up, a year or two left? So you're going to need to go after a quarterback because clearly the other guys proved they couldn't do it this year. So and Minnesota struggled with a quarterback for years.
Cousins doesn't take a lot of hits. He don't take a lot of abuse. He could be up there with the Testaverdes, and he could play well into his 40s.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't disagree, but at the same time, the Vikings aren't going to keep paying that big salary if he doesn't produce for them.
Here's the thing, though. To Purpse's point, I would say this. Even if, let's say, it's something in between. Let's say Cousins is going to play 2 to 3 more years. He signs a contract that is something around that feels like he would stay and play it out for 2 or 3 more years. That you can't draft a quarterback necessarily and have him on the shelf for 2 or 3 years and waste that rookie deal. So like if you do bring Kirk Cousins back, you're probably not using this 11 pick on a quarterback because you're just going to have that rookie deal come up. I don't think they would do that. But I think that maybe like if Penix, let's say Michael Penix Jr. fell to the second round, Perps, I could see them maybe saying, let's just do this. Let's just get him, let's scoop him up just in case Cousins coming back from the Achilles. Let's not be like the Jets where we're left with our pants down. Or be like the Vikings were last year, left with their pants down. Like there's a potential to make sure we have that covered, but you can't do it at 11. Not if Cousins comes back. But part of me wonders if Cousins is coming back. I don't know. We'll have to see. I know JJ is going to have a big, strong hand in that, but we will find out. We will find out.
The thing is,
Cousins. Go ahead, Ron.
Cousins has already proven himself. Last year, he did great, and he was on a record-setting career season this year before his Achilles went. Last year, it wasn't his fault Minnesota didn't go past the playoff, first round. You guys had a really bad defense, one of the worst in the NFL. That was your crutch last year was the defense, not the offense. Cousins is it.
Yeah.
Right, but anytime you pay a guy the money Cousins demands, if you don't make the playoffs or whatever, there has to be a scapegoat. It's going to be him, the coach, or somebody.
I do feel like I do feel like Ron Purps is a little bit on something in that I think that the Vikings, they're teeter-tottering on that. Do we continue to go down this road we've been going down, which obviously production-wise has been great, but do we need to go a different route? Do we need to build something? Do we need to try and get our Stroud? Because Cousins is great. We've been doing good. We're very competitive. They've been paper tigers in the at the end of the day, each season. And so they might just say, is it worth paying Cousins a mega deal? Even if it's a shorter type of mega deal, it's going to be a lot of money. He's going to command a lot, and he's going to get a lot too because these teams that need quarterbacks, they're going to go after him. I think, and I think you've been leaning a little bit more this way than normal, Ron. Obviously, because you were dead set against Cousins leaving and even being tempted to leave. But I think the Minnesota Vikings have given us enough indication over the last 4 years they want to move on from Cousins that now is their chance to do it. They're going to probably do it. I don't know.
Yeah, but you just said the other day on your thing that you thought that what you were hearing was Cousins probability of staying there is pretty high.
Well, there's no real indication from anybody. I think my guess was based on the fact that he wants a good fit. He's not worried about money. That makes you think he's probably not wanting to leave Minnesota. He's trying to get a more competitive offer to bump up whatever's going on in Minnesota. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I feel like it's very 50-50.
If he thinks that he can win a Super Bowl, and I think he does think they can go and win a Super Bowl, I think he'll take less money, and he'll restructure his contract in favor of the team, because that's the type of guy he is. He drives a minivan, for God's sakes. He I mean, you know.
I can't trust him. I can't trust a quarterback that drives a minivan now. I'm out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want my quarterback to be a little bit more aggressive than that.
How about anyone that drives a minivan?
He's teaching his kids the value of money. You don't need all this.
What'd you say, Perps? I'm sorry if anybody drives a minivan.
How about anyone that drives a minivan?
I don't know how many watchers right now drive a minivan. I don't want to offend.
No, I'm not talking about watchers. I'm talking about football players.
Heck,
I'm just saying.
Hey, drives a minivan?
Travis Kelce drives a minivan.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you want to drive an electric car. You don't want no combustion.
Travis Kelce may drive a minivan. I've heard. Lately, he's been looking into it and is potentially okay. Hey, Perps, appreciate you, bro.
EV up to Minnesota, the battery's gonna freeze. So bring it up here.
Perps, appreciate the 20 gifted memberships. I'll see you later, pal.
See you, man.
Later, Perps.
All right, Travis, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I was just going to mention with Ron was talking about Belichick earlier. I don't know if I really see anywhere for him to go but Atlanta and maybe Buffalo if it opens up. I'm not sure I really see him anywhere else unless because like the Giants aren't going to open up. Chargers are gone.
He doesn't want a big market.
I really do wonder.
That came out
really
where he's like he doesn't
Buffalo.
He doesn't want a big market. He doesn't want the reporting pressures and stuff. So like so that I don't know how much that came out recently, but you know Atlanta's definitely in the cards for sure. Washington is a potential. Seattle, you know, Dallas was in the cards, but not anymore. Obviously, I don't know. I mean, there aren't a lot of spots left. I mean, what?
I guess I could see Washington too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are not a lot of great spots left. He's not going to Carolina. Who's going to go throw their career away doing that? It's Seattle, Atlanta, Washington, and then, you know, like you said, if another opening opens up.
I think Buffalo wins that game this past weekend if he's coaching. But that's just me.
Yeah, I don't.
I might be a little biased.
Yeah, we'll see on that. I mean, they could look at it, but I don't know. I'm not hearing it yet. All right, appreciate you, Travis.
The other problem is he wants to bring all his guys with him too, and I wouldn't want that if I was hiring him. Like, you're not bringing Matt Patricia and Joe Judge and all that crap, you know. So,
all right, man. Appreciate you.
All right,
later. Bob says we need to show the Chargers some more hype. What do you think I've been doing for 48 straight minutes, Bob? I appreciate the super chat, though. But, I mean, I feel like I've been bringing the hype pretty strong. All right, Ron, any final thoughts? Bring your own hype.
Yeah, just stay safe there. Wear your mask when you're out of the studio so you don't catch that family flu that's going on.
Yep. All right, Ron, appreciate you.
Later.
All right, appreciate everybody being in here. See if there's anything else. Did you all see the Kirk Cousins? Yeah, that was definitely unique. Minshew lives in a minivan, says Blackbeard. That wouldn't surprise me if he had one of those like campers. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I could see it. Marvin won't fall to 7. Of course he won't. What's the Vikings cap space? I don't. I'll have to look at that. I'll try and make a cap space sheet. So I'll do that. I'll do that very, very soon. Bob says, "Please, Smitty. I don't know how much more I can hype the situation for you, Bob, but I'll hit that $20 holler and we'll do a standing ovation for the Chargers. How's that?"
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert.
Chargers to the moon, Bob. Appreciate your $20 holler. I feel like I've hyped them pretty good this show. I feel like I've been hyping them pretty solid. Appreciate you all being here. I should be back at some point tonight. No promises. Tonight's been kind of crazy at Casa de Smitty. We always have some pandemic coming through here. We got people vomiting the flu. It's every other week. Somehow I've escaped it. Most weeks. We'll see we'll see how quickly I start slowing down, because I'm feeling pretty mediocre, but definitely haven't been hit fully by it. So we'll see. But there's constant pandemics. I don't know what these kids do when they go to school. If they just, I don't understand. I don't understand why. I know it's going around bad too, though. But all right, appreciate you all. I'll see you all on the way out the door. With this little, I'll send you all on the way out the door with this little number here. What do we got? What are we gonna do here? How about a little?
How to handle a ball. He's Kyron. He can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Brees Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Brees. He's Brees.
He does a hell of a job. A hell of a job. A hell of a job.
Brees Hall, please report to the moon.
Legend has it, if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
Hit that thumb up button on the way out the door. Young, appreciate your super chat. Bob, thank you for your $20 holler. Did I get to Young's? Young says, Smitty, how you feel? Yeah, I did get to that one. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you. Thank you, Young. Appreciate you. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you. Bob with the $20 holler. Bob with the $4.99 holler. Bob to the moon. Sorry, Bob, I didn't hype enough. It's hype season. See you all later.
Get Brees.